Hey everyone, Mac is back. Today we're going to talk about the Commander series once again, and today we'll go over Laena, Melisandre, and Raymond. So a few interesting commanders this time around, so let's get to it. And the first commander we'll start with is Laena. And for rebel leaders, she's not really useful at all. I only have her in blue quality, but if you got her up, I guess, to gold, you might be able to put her in there for maybe some attack damage. She might be able to help you in that respect. She does deal a decent amount of damage with her skill at 8,000 in blue quality. If you have her gold, that's going to be probably well over 10,000, so I would say that's probably pretty good. Very similar to Layla in that regards, where they do a decent amount of damage, which is nice. And she also has medium-sized health at 30,000. At blue, probably gets you up to about 45 or so when you're fully gold. And so the abilities here are more for like a defense than they are for attacking. So rebel leader, she's okay, but you're probably not going to use her. You have many other commanders you're going to be using for. When it comes to PvP and the army, she has cav health, cav attack, and cav defense. So she is a pure cav commander, which is very, very good for you who have you go pure cav. Say if you're free to play and you go pure cav. Well, you're free to play, you're not going to be using her. I'm sorry, but if you're if you're a medium spender and you're gonna go a pure cav front, then this is perfect for that because of the health and the defense. So they definitely do that as well. And the awakening here is let's see what her skill is here. So when the cavalry proportion of your troops is greater than that of the enemy, the cavalry defense is 30%, and then when it's the opposite, then you gain 30% attack. So if you're basically kind of losing the battle, they give you the attack so you can kind of catch up, or if you're winning, you get some defense to kind of hold them off a little bit more. So in that regard, that ability is not very good. That's one of those ones that you're not going to get to 4 stars. You're not going to 4-star her at all. You might get her to get her to 2 stars to get the the tavern, and then 3 stars for sure if you want to use if you want to increase her stats here for the cav front. So not too bad when it comes to increasing her awakening to 3 stars, but she's definitely not a 4-star commander that you're going to get. Looking in the tavern, you can see that she has a 4-star leadership, which is actually very, very useful, and this is one reason that I'm probably going to start to upgrade her soon a little bit more. Try to get her to gold so I can be able to use her to get that leadership, because having that increase in rally size and army size is very, very good. And then she takes, looks like she takes the jewelry, which I've talked about before, that not many commanders do take. So here's one that does. So you'll have plenty of that left over instead of using it on one of those other commanders that I talked about, where you're not getting the stats that you want. Then here is a really, really good place to use that jewelry. When it comes to the training grounds for a tank, which she's a sort of a tank, and they say attack defense. You really hope you do a lot of damage. You have kind of a self-heal, you have a passive stun, or you have an outright skill, active skill that does a stun as well. So that's what you're kind of looking for, and with Laena, you really don't see that, or don't have that. You have a pretty good skill that does some damage, 8,000, which I said to get her gold, there'll be a lot more. I talked about Sonara and how she was very low as well. I only had her blue also, so she wasn't doing as much damage either, but you could obviously increase this. And then the next skill here is incoming attacks have a 30% chance of reducing the target's attack by 2200, and this triggers once every 15 seconds. So there is that chance, I guess, that this happens, and but 15 seconds, that's a long time. It triggers once every 15 seconds. The battle's pretty well in hand at that point, so you're not gonna, who's the winner, loser's already kind of chosen. Now the next one here is grants an over 11,000 damage reduction for 5 seconds when attacked by skills, and restores the health. So there is a kind of a self-heal and a damage reduction there. So maybe you would want to put her in the front line in the training grounds. That is a possibility. And then 150 to strategy, so a little more defense there. So there is a possibility you could throw her in there for that, because she would do a decent amount of damage there. Her attack right now, though, is the problem. With a 3,400 per attack, that's really, really low. I think even at gold, I mean, maybe that gets you to 6,000, maybe 7,000. So not really looking too good there. And her skills overall are actually, they're kind of in the middle of the line too, because she does a decent amount of damage like we talked about. And this first one here, the Striking Beauty, is not very good, but the Close Call is good. I kind of like that damage reduction. She kind of shields herself for 5 seconds, so she can actually take a little bit of damage, but overall the skills are kind of, like I said, kind of mediocre. And next we'll look at Melisandre. And for her, we will look at the Rebel Leaders, in which she is basically worthless. Don't even consider her using than any Rebel Leaders whatsoever. She doesn't do enough damage, and she's not a tank, so you're not going to be able to do that. When it comes to PvP and army, she has bow attack, bow defense, and some building construction. With the bow defense and bow attack, they both go up to 30%. So in those regards, you definitely want to use her for a specialized bow build. So if you do have that would be very good, because of the bow being your front line and being your back line. Although you may want to use, in a specific bow build, you might want to use the infantry or something in the front, just a little bit of infantry to take some of that damage to protect the bows. So those are kind of a couple ways about doing that. And I may make a video in the future about a bow build specifically, because it might be something to be worth doing for even a free-to-play player. I haven't really looked into it yet, but maybe that's something that I'll do in the future. When looking at her Awakening, you can see I don't have her upgraded at all, because I'm not really into the bow type of thing, but it says Melisandre ignites the arrows of the allied bowmen. Normal attacks of all allied bowmen have a 50% chance to deal 10% additional fire damage. So there's a 50-50 chance that when they do attack, that when your normal attacks from your bowmen will have a 50% chance, which is like, you're attacking almost every second or every couple seconds. So I mean, it has a 50% chance of doing 10% fire damage. So I don't know what the fire damage is. I don't know if that is exactly just 10% more damage. I assume maybe that's what that is. So that's actually, again, going back to the specific bow build, that's really good for that. So that would be something that you would want to look into. Let's go to the tavern. And in the tavern, she has combat rate, so that'd be one you'd want to increase as well. And again, she's taking the jewelry to upgrade her. So we've had a few here in the most recent videos I've done where the commanders are taking jewelry, but there's still not too many. I mean, what was that? Maybe a handful of them, maybe 5, maybe 6 that are doing it, compared to the desserts, which is just off the charts. I mean, 10 to 15 of those probably, so 2 to 3 times the amount. But there aren't a whole lot, and then plus hers, you have to spend a lot of money to get her gold. You have to buy those massive packs, those $20, $20, $50, $100, I think, or something. But maybe not 100. Maybe they are. I don't know. I only have her to blue, and I really don't plan on just upgrading her to get the combat rate, because I don't have a bow build either, so I'm probably not going to be able to do that. So that's not recommended. But if you have a bow build, then I would definitely increase her. In the training grounds, I think she's pretty useless. She just doesn't do enough damage. I mean, look at her, even at blue, she's 3,700, similar to our last commander as well. And Laena doesn't really just do enough damage. She has an area, she's considered an area attack. So her skills here, she deals 7,500 damage to targets in a round area, plus another 75 additional if the target's health is below 50%. So that's not too bad. So if they are below 50%, you're doing 15,000 damage, which is very good. Adds 50 to strategy for 5 seconds every 7 seconds, and restores might. I guess that doesn't say how much might, but just maybe it's 50 might, I don't know. That's not really that great either. Invokes the power of the Lord, reduces target's attack by 4,161 every 7 attacks, so now it's reducing their attack, so it's kind of defense, and then adds some defense in there, which defense is kind of slow already. And then the health is also very, very low. So not really good in the training grounds, and skill-wise, also not very good. And the last commander in this little trio is Raymond. And with Raymond, you, when it comes to rebel leaders, he might be someone that you want to use. So I only have him, I have him green. He's one of my lower tier commanders that I haven't upgraded, and there's reasons for that I'll talk about here in a minute. But one of the, even at green quality, he's doing 5,500 damage. So it's really good to have just a base damage of 5,500 for not even, just being at a lower quality. His skill here is a brutal slash arc. His straight line deals 4,000 damage to multiple enemies. So against a rebel leader, you're only going against one, so you're only getting that 4,000, which is really low. But then it burns them for 3,300 damage every second for 5 seconds, so add 1,500 on top of that, so now it's 5,500 damage. So that's still really low. It's not very good at all, and his other ones are not very good either. So, maybe here the Ryler's Light, you're looking at, if he's killed in battle, all the remaining, they gain health and they gain might. So that's one thing of his ability that's actually pretty good, but other than that, the rest of him is really not that great. When it comes to PvP, he is worthless because he has camp training speed, he has gold production, and he has research speed. If he's a gold farm, I guess you could spend up and buy his metals and get this gold production up to 50%. Would I recommend doing that? Absolutely not, because you can find gold. You can make a gold farm without having him. You can make it a free account. You don't even need this, so I would not recommend doing that. And by the time you get him, his research is gold and his camp training speed high, to gold, to use these, it's actually not, they're not really that great. You're not getting a massive percentage, because as you know, the way the curve works on those is it's going to be, the more research speed you get at a certain point, it really is, it's only increasing it very incrementally, very minutely, so you're not going to worry about that. When it comes to his awakening skill, it says applies immediately, so it's just an own bonus. He doesn't have to be in an attack or anything. You get a total defense of 8%, training speed 15, and research speed 15. You're not going to get that either unless you're a max account. The total defense you don't care about. The training speed and research speed 15% is really not that great, so you're not going to be doing that either. However, in the tavern, he does have combat rates, so you'd want to increase that. And he does take drink, which it's kind of in the middle ground there when it comes to drink and how coveted that is. So if you have him at a certain quality, you're going to just increase his max as much as you can. You can see I'm at 20 right now. If I had him, blue quality and it was 30, then I absolutely would get it up to 30 just for the combat rate itself. And when we talk about the training grounds, you might think that just because this skill here, where if he dies in battle, he would actually help his, all his allies, but he's just not very good. I mean, I would not have him in there at all. His health is not high enough. He has a middling defense. Obviously, mine is very low, so maybe he would have more attack and maybe he'd have more defense and more health, and you'd want to do that. But he's more of a backline if you were gonna put him in there, and he just doesn't do enough damage with his active skill. And this front one skill here is not, if he's the first one to die, sure, maybe it would be worth it. And I'm still gonna say no. You don't want him at all in there. Not really worth upgrading too much just to do that. And then the rest of his skills, I mean, you're talking about some command, and command is you're talking about defense. So dealing with additional damage every 5 seconds. Yeah, that's every 5 seconds you're getting 409 damage. That's not much at all either. So yeah, overall I would say that his training grounds is kind of useless, and his skills here overall are almost just as useless. So so this is the last commander in this series, and I have I have two more, I'm sorry, commander series videos left to do. So we'll get to those when I do, but until next time, Mac out.